All right, so today we are diving into the world of Vedic astrology, and we're using Kapil Raj's book, Astrology at the Speed of Light, as our guide. And I'm telling you, get ready to question, well, everything you thought you knew about your own zodiac sign.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. Do you really know your star sign? I mean, are you absolutely sure? Because the book we're looking at today makes a pretty bold claim, that there's a very good chance it's not what you've been told your whole life.
Okay, just look at this comparison for a second. If you were born, say, November 10th, you've probably spent your whole life thinking you're a Scorpio, right? Well, according to the Vedic system, you'd actually be a Libra. And this isn't just, a slight adjustment. We're talking about the book's central argument here, that there is a massive 23-degree difference between these two systems.
So, is your star sign wrong? Let's dive into that. We're going to explore the fundamental reason why the author says the Western sun sign most of us know and use is, well, just plain incorrect.
So what is this 23-degree shift all about? Well, it basically comes down to a tiny wobble in the Earth's axis, something called the precession of the equinoxes. Here's the deal. The author says the Vedic system, which is sidereal, is aligned with the actual fixed constellations up there in the sky, where the stars really are. But Western or tropical astrology is different. It's aligned with the seasons. It was pegged to the sun's position on the spring equinox thousands of years ago. And over all that time, that little wobble has caused the two systems to drift apart, creating this huge 23-degree gap. All right, now we're going to get into the meat of it, Vedic versus Western astrology. Because believe me, that 23-degree shift, that is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's really break down the core differences between these two systems as laid out in the book.
Okay, check this out. First, the age difference is pretty staggering. The author claims the Vedic system is over 5,500 years old, while the Western system is about 2,000 years old, and their foundations are totally different. Vedic is based on those fixed stars we talked about, while Western is based on the seasons. Then you've got the planets. Vedic astrology uses all the familiar ones, but adds two really unique points called Rahu and Ketu, the shadow planets. And maybe the biggest difference, the level of detail. Western astrology has the 12 signs, but Vedic adds a whole other layer, 27 subdivisions called nakshatras.
Now, the book also gets into some pretty provocative historical claims. And just so we're clear, this is all coming directly from the author, Kapil Raj. He writes, quote, "The entire structure of Washington, D.C. has been energized with black magic rituals to keep its people under control by its gigantic monuments." So the argument here is that historical figures like George Washington were actually using these principles and building them right into the city's layout. And it doesn't stop there. Here's another direct quote from the book. He says, "The entire religion of Christianity is based upon astrotheology. Jesus Christ in the Bible is the modification of Egyptian sun god Amun-Ra. So the theory he's putting forward is that key religious figures are actually symbols, with Jesus representing the sun and the 12 disciples representing the 12 signs of the zodiac." Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. How does this system actually work when it comes to you? We're going to look at your cosmic blueprint. The book describes it as a map of your life, but how it's built, well, it's probably not what you think. So here's the first big surprise for most people. In Vedic astrology, your sun sign, it's not the most important thing. The absolute foundation of your chart is what's called the ascendant, or lagna. What is that? It's the zodiac sign that was physically rising on the eastern horizon at the exact moment in the exact place you were born. According to the author, this is what makes your chart totally unique to you. It sets the stage for the entire map of your life. Okay, so once that ascendant is locked in, it becomes your first house. And from there, the other 11 houses just fall into place, each one representing a different slice of your life. You've got the first house, which is you, yourself, your personality. Then you've got, say, the 7th house, which is all about marriage and partnerships. The 10th house, that's your career and public life. It's like a cosmic pie chart that maps out, well, everything. Now, let's talk about something called a karaka. It's a pretty cool concept. It just means significator. Basically, each planet is a natural symbol for certain things in life. Take the sun, for example. In any chart, no matter what, the sun is the karaka for your father. It also represents your soul, your authority, your power. And following that same logic, the moon is the karaka for your mother, your emotions, and your mind. But here's a really interesting point from the book. The moon represents your emotional mind, how you feel, how you react to things, your raw intelligence, your analytical brain, how you communicate. That's a totally different planet, Mercury. It's a fascinating separation of the heart and the head.
And now we get to those mysterious shadow planets, Rahu and Ketu. So these aren't actual planets you can see with the telescope. They're mathematical points, basically where the moon's orbit intersects with the Earth's orbit. And their symbolism is just wild. Rahu is described as the head without a body. It's all about illusion, ambition, and worldly desires. It's always hungry for more. Ketu, on the other hand, is the body without a head. It represents the past, spirituality, and ultimately, letting go.
Okay, so we've got the 12 signs, but remember how I said the Vedic system adds another layer of detail? This is where it gets really granular. Let's talk about the 27 lunar mansions.
27. That's the key number here. This is the number of nakshatras, or lunar mansions. Think about it like this. The sun plods through a zodiac sign over a whole month. But the moon? It's zipping through the sky, passing through one of these 27 nakshatras roughly every single day. This gives an absolutely incredible layer of specificity.
So here's how that breaks down. You take one zodiac sign, like Aries, which is a 30-degree slice of the sky. And within that one sign, you have multiple nakshatras. For example, parts of Ashwini, Bharani, and Kritika all fall within Aries. This means two people can both be Aries, but if one person's moon is in the Ashwini nakshatra and the other's is in Bharani, well, the author says their personalities, their core nature, will be worlds apart. It's really the difference between a blurry, out-of-focus picture and a super-sharp, high-resolution portrait.
But here's where it gets really mind-blowing. According to the author, this system doesn't just describe who you are. This next part is all about timing your life path. It claims to provide a predictive timeline for your entire life.
And how does it do that? Through something called the dasha system. This is a system of planetary time periods, or mahadashas. The idea is that based on where the moon was when you were born, you start your life in one planet's major dasha. And from there, the rest of your life unfolds in a fixed sequence of these planetary periods.
The best way to think about it is like your life is a book, with each chapter ruled by a different planet. So you might go through a 20-year Venus chapter, where everything in your life is focused on relationships, creativity, and finding comfort. And right after that, bam! You enter a 6-year Sun chapter, and suddenly it's all about career, leadership, and your public image. Then maybe you move into an 18-year Rahu period, which could bring massive, world-changing ambition. The point is, your life unfolds according to this very specific planetary schedule.
So what's the point of all this? Well, according to the book, the practical application is timing. It's about prediction. A Vedic astrologer would look at what planetary chapter you're in right now. Let's say it's that intense Rahu period, and then look at where Rahu is in your unique birth chart. By combining those two things, they can pinpoint the timing of major life events. We're talking about things like when you might get married, when a big career change is coming, or when you might face a really significant challenge.
Which brings us to our final big question. The author claims this is your true cosmic map. If you really believed you had access to the blueprint for your entire life, a timeline of the highs, the lows, the challenges, and the opportunities, what would you even do with it? Would you change anything? It's a pretty wild thought to end on.